Hey folks, this is Ben Gessel. This is the last part of my extreme in-depth look at my diet, how I'm doing right now. And I have some thoughts for you after I'm done with all this stuff. Not too many, because we got to plow through this. The last one was a big one, vegetables, of course. Even though I'm not having as many vegetables as Dr. Furman, I'm still eating my vegetables, as you can see. So even though it's more than moderate to a little bit, depending on what type of vegetable we're talking about, and it fluctuates from time to time. Anyway, I digress, kind of. This is about the meats: meat, poultry, eggs, and fish. Now, I should mention one other thing. This is not all the foods I'm eating, because there are foods I'm eating that are not on the 100 healthiest foods list, which has all the information here. So I can go through another video, or even now, what kinds of foods I'm eating that are not on this list. And there's a fair bit of fruit, like not so much cherries super recently, but I love cherries. Nectarines, again, not so much recently, but I love nectarines. And mango is not on the 100 healthiest foods list, which I love mango. I'm eating it right now a lot. And then there's other foods on the 100 healthiest foods list that I'm not going to get to in this video yet, because there's just a lot of them. And some of them I don't have as much of, really. Not even a little bit. It's just lesser, so less. Anyway, not as much. But and then of course I mentioned I eat a lot of pistachios, or a fair bit right now. But pistachios are similar to cashews in a lot of respects. Now, and of course with vegetables I have asparagus when it's in season, and I'll have some other kinds of vegetables as well that are outside of that list that I just made in part 3. So getting to this list, there are definitely some meats. And fish that I eat that are not going to be on this list. There's I eat pork. I've gotten pork more recently. That I had a whole year without doing pork, and I'll have sausage and stuff, but just not as much of it. At least for the sausage. I mean, my pork intake is not very big, but again, because it wasn't on the 100 healthiest foods list, it's not on here. But just be aware, I'm eating some pork again. I'm just watching how much I eat of it. But in the summer, it's always a question of how much you eat of it. So here we go. Let's jump right into this here. That all being said, and it's getting a little darker outside, I know. So so you can see kind of, again, that these are the vitamin A, B1, B2, B3. By the time we get to B3, and by the way, the salmon is the B2 at 56%. Once you get to that B3, that's where a lot of you guys are getting your B3. I believe it's niacin. But thiamin's B1, riboflavin B2, niacin's B3. Yeah, I could be wrong. So that's where we're getting American diet. We're getting a lot of our niacin, probably most of it from chicken, turkey, beef, and lamb, and other stuff like that. We get it from other stuff, as you can see, that niacin B3. Yep, B3. I mean, you can see, we can get some from peanuts. We can get some from seeds, and we'll get some from avocado, and I don't know, what is that? Creamy mushrooms and peas a little bit, but yeah, we're getting a lot of we're getting a lot of niacin from meat, and then B5, you get some respectable amounts, especially in salmon and poultry. And also the red meat. The next one over, B6, yep, beef, chicken, and turkey, and salmon. And then, of course, as you guys know, B12 is where you get it naturally from meat. I know, that's one of the big hot button topics. Salmon is the huge one at 236%, a huge one. You can get over 100% from beef, of course. Or, sorry, lamb, I should say. Lamb has over 100% B12. And beef has 60%, which is respectable. You can even get some from chicken, turkey, and eggs. But of course, a lot of us get B12 in supplements. And then, of course, you get a little bit of C from salmon, which is interesting. And then the next one over, D, vitamin D, 128% for salmon. That's 128% of your daily needs for vitamin D, which is one of the rarest things you can find in foods, because we get a lot of our vitamin D from sunlight. We should. And that's why, gosh, those Vikings are really into that fish. Russians and stuff. Japanese. Anywhere where there's not a lot of sunlight, we need that fish. We need that salmon, especially. Crave that vitamin D. Oh man. And eggs can also help out too. So if you're living up in the polar regions, north south, especially north, in our world, we have more colder areas up in the north. But eggs can kind of help you out there a little bit when salmon can't. And imagine other fish is probably high in vitamin D as well. I mentioned, mushrooms have a teensy bit, but not very much at all. But sunlight's where we get most of our vitamin D naturally. You can also supplement with vitamin D. In dairy, you can find vitamin D, but dairy is not as healthy. And as you guys can see, by the way, I don't have any beans on this list, which is not a good thing. I don't have any grains on this list, which is whatever. And then I don't have any dairy on this list, which is, in my opinion, a good thing. So I'm leaving out beans, grains, and dairy. And not including herbs and spices, because herbs and spices just, they are healthy for you, but yeah. So, in the interest of making this not too huge of a list, next one over, vitamin E. A little bit, especially with lamb and salmon. Next one over is K. Yeah. As you can tell, vitamin K is kind of a joke, but lamb has a teensy bit, but vitamin K is a joke in the meat world compared to vegetables. Next one over, biotin. I'm going too slow here again. Sorry, folks. Eggs and salmon coming through. Lamb has got a little bit of copper. Copper is next one. Next one over is manganese. Next one over is phosphorus, which, yes, there's tons of phosphorus in all kinds of animal foods. As you know, that 52% salmon. And magnesium and molybdenum. Yeah, molybdenum, that 19% is from the eggs. That's, by the way, where I'm getting enough molybdenum, but I could probably increase my bean intake a little bit. It has some more molybdenum. How do you ever pronounce that? I don't know. Okay. Page 2. Meats. Oh, yeah. Because we're starting out with protein. That goes without saying. That's that first column is protein. Next column is carbs, obviously. Nothing. Then fat. Lamb has a lot of fat. Yep. But it's not terrible for you. My opinion. Fiber, of course, nothing. Calories. That top one's lamb. This is grass-fed stuff, by the way. So it's going to be, the numbers are going to be a little bit different if you're talking about conventional stuff, but anyway, this is all grass-fed. It's all high quality. It's grass-fed red meat. This is pasture-raised protein, poultry, and this is wild-caught salmon. So again, the numbers are going to be a little bit off for conventional stuff, but we do what we can. 100 Healthiest Foods database is a great way to go, in my opinion, still. So next one over here, after I was talking about, is choline. The 24% choline, that's for lamb. Choline is definitely a big time in the animal world, animal foods. You get some choline in broccoli and cauliflower and peas and stuff, as well as Swiss chard, but you definitely get a fair bit more in meats and poultry and stuff. Next over is folate. Yeah. 6 and 4 for eggs and salmon, respectively. Boron, nope. Calcium, salmon, a little bit. And that chlorine is blank, of course. Chromium, not much. That 2% is for chicken. That 1%, by the way, is for eggs. Yeah. Iodine, yay, for eggs and salmon. You get some naturally occurring eggs and salmon, and that's one of the reasons why I sometimes like to eat sushi, get my iodine in salmon. I have a lot of salmon in my fridge, and eggs. You can get a lot of that iodine from that stuff. And the more you eat seaweed, dried seaweed, nori stuff, the more you eat your fish and eggs, the more you can get some nice iodine levels. And of course, supplements and everything too. And iodized salt, yes. Okay, I already covered this, sorry. My fault. Page 3. Here we go. Okay, that first column you're seeing is cholesterol. We all know that eggs and lamb have a lot of cholesterol. But we're not really worried about it these days so much because apparently it's not as big of a deal. The one thing we watch is trans fat. That's later on. But we don't worry about cholesterol as much. It used to be a big hot topic, and it still kind of is, but it's different. And we have a little bit more perspective on how bad it's the LDL that's not good, but HDL I know is in plant foods and or something. I can't remember how it goes, but I'm not so worried about those high numbers because again, eggs are darn good for you. Anyway, next one over, iron. Yep, red meat, it's got a bit more. Of course, we all know. Anyway, that's right. We don't get to plants versus meats regarding iron. Yes, it's a yeah. Okay, potassium. Salmon for the win, 10%. Then beef. Those big numbers you're seeing is for selenium. Definitely, selenium is something you need to eat. I know vegans need to watch their selenium because that is, oh man, gosh, just be a pescatarian for crying out loud. That 78% is for selenium in salmon. And imagine it's high in fish as well. So it makes more sense to be a pescatarian, in my opinion, a lot of times. You get all these minerals you need. But yeah, you get a lot of minerals, you get the selenium from poultry and red meat, as you can see. Next one over is sodium. Yep, turkey's a bit salty. Chicken, a little bit of sodium for all these guys. Those bigger numbers you're seeing are for zinc. Zinc is definitely a big deal. It's a big deal. You get a lot of zinc in lamb and beef, and I imagine also pork as well. You get a little bit for the other guys. Next one over, omega-3s. You get a lot of omega-3s in beef and salmon, if it's grass-fed beef. And a little bit of that omega-6s. I don't know. Well, it's just grams. It's a different kind of percentage. Sorry. Amino acids, of course, goes without saying, have all of them. Right? All amino acids are covered in animal foods, which is one of the biggest reasons why we eat them, because they are complete proteins. That's why they are so filling. We are not hungry after having some meat, poultry, fish, and egg. Okay, more info on fats, as you can see. And all this stuff, again, is in the 100 Healthiest Foods database. This is just what I'm eating, folks. Okay. Yep, lamb has a lot of monounsaturated fat and a lot of saturated fat if it's grass-fed per serving. It's very fatty. Now, of course, lamb and beef are expensive as well as salmon, but we should still be getting some of that stuff, especially salmon. This last column over here, durability, convenience, and availability. Well, red meat and poultry are not as convenient if you're getting actual whole foods type things, because if you get microwavable meals, of course it's convenient. If you get chimichangas, it's convenient. If you get all that manufactured stuff, it's convenient. But if you get the real foods, you have to cook it, and that's healthier, but it's not as convenient. But whatever. And of course, eggs and salmon take quicker to cook, so they're more convenient, somewhat. And now, of course, lamb and turkey aren't always as available. So kind of, see the little squiggly mark is kind of a maybe, kind of thing. Anyway, just to go over a few more things here, folks, there's a few reasons why I did all this stuff. Part 1, 2, 3, 4. I talk about my diet a fair bit. I know I do. But hopefully you guys are getting some information from all this. And I know my lists can be hard to follow. And I know cameras, whatever. And I get it. I know it's getting darker here. But, I thought that something like this would be a much easier way. This is the whole, I have to see this all. You can still pretty legible. I thought that something like this would be very useful for you guys. More useful. See, that's the whole shebang. That's what I talked about earlier and all this stuff. All right, that's the first page. Scan through that one more time. I'm going to scan through this bad boy one more time while I'm talking here. You can pause it at any point in time you want to. Getting low on juice on my phone. I think I'm still doing fine though. Getting low on sunlight, natural sunlight. So that's page 2 for all the stuff we've talked about. Man, that boron. This is why you need produce. Not just because of boron, but you see, it's hard to. It's very complex. Nutrition is complex. It's like there's a lot of numbers thrown around. The more familiar you get with this stuff, it gets easier over time to know what you're actually taking into your body. But this is all stuff that, in my opinion, I am religious, that the Lord God made for us because he knew that this stuff was going to be good for us. It is from Mother Nature. If you're, whether or not you're religious or less so, God or nature, I mean, it's God. It's the stuff we need to be eating. All this manufactured stuff, not so much. If it's convenient, it has whole foods that went into it, okay. But, okay. See, I'm going to go through this again. Sorry. There's all the page 3 stuff for nuts, fruit, and vegetables. More details and that stuff. And then meat. So again, meat has those high numbers, but don't be misled. Meat and poultry and fish and eggs are not to be overdone because they have a lot of nutrients, but they have they have some more downsides too. There's no downsides for plant foods. Just watch your oxalates, I guess, on some level for some foods like chia pods and whatever, nuts, maybe, I don't know. Actually, it's phytic acid for nuts and all that stuff and grains. Anyway, so one more scan for this guy. It's page 4. Okay, I'm officially heading out here, folks. My phone's getting very low on juice. Leave me thoughts and comments below. I hope this is useful. I'll catch you guys later. Take care. Bye.